Hello everyone. Lot of times people come to me and say that Varun, we have worked throughout our life in predictive methodology, but honestly I'm still confused that which process do you do first, which process we do it in parallel. It's just so confusing. This is one of the most common doubts which I hear from a PMP aspirant. But don't worry, in this particular video I will explain you the complete predictive process flow chart where you will see end to end what are the things which we do in each of these phases. Most importantly, I want you to watch this video 3 times, not once, 3 times. First, in the beginning, let's say you are in the starting stage of the of your journey. I want you to watch this because I will be explaining this everything what you see on the screen in detail. You don't have to make any notes because what you see on my back, this process flow chart, I will be giving you for free of course. I'll explain you how to do it. In the end, all you might have to go is to just go to my website and fill some information about you, and then you can download it. But again, that is not the primary purpose. Primary purpose is to understand. So first time when you are starting the journey, because I'll be covering everything, and when you go and do a deep dive into each of these, you will have a better picture of what I explained. Second time, I want you to have this PDF handy with you. How to download it, I will share it with you. You will have it, and then you do it when you are in the middle of the journey, because a lot of things will be much more clearer. And the last time I want you to watch this video is in the very end. When I say very end, before one day before your PMP exam. Why? Because predictive accounts for 40% of your PMP exam. And if you can't learn the 40% PMP exam, then the chances of you passing the PMP exam greatly reduces. So this is very, very important. So I will use a practical case study to explain, and let's get started. As you know, I compare my predictive process flow chart or agile process flow chart or any of my examples using a real case study example, right? So what we're going to do is I will show you our project for this. So we will be working on an ultra luxurious apartment construction. That's the project. Now you will say that, Varun, it doesn't look like an ultra luxurious. It looks like a very normal and common. Don't make fun of that part, but just assume that this is an ultra luxurious apartment which has a parking lot, swimming pool, lawn tennis, park, open library, open gym, and then we have some greenery, plants and everything from a sustainability standpoint on both the sides of the apartment. This has 4 floors, and this has, let's say, approximately 10 apartments on each floor. On the top we have put the solar panel. Okay, so that is our project which we will be using for our for understanding the predictive process flow chart. Okay, now, so this entire project is divided into 5 phases: pre-initiation, initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closing. As I said, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed at all. I'll explain you everything in detail. In fact, there would be so many light bulb moments for you that, oh, this is how it is done. That is what I will make sure that you get it. Okay, so now let me make the first part, which is your pre-initiation. Okay, I hope you can see it, right? Okay, now in the pre-initiation phases that we have not started working on the project, but we are deciding that should we construct this apartment building, ultra luxurious apartment, should we even do that or not? And for that, the first thing you will do is your business needs document. Business needs document. Now what is a business needs document? Okay, business needs document. I'll write it over here only, actually much easier. No, you know what, let me make it on the next page because I would have to explain these also. So first is your business needs document. Business needs document. Business need document. Okay, first of all, this business need document is something which the responsibility is of the sponsor. It's more like a one pager which talks about, you know, like, which does the needs assessment. Do we really need this project from an organization perspective? It will talk about your high level deliverables, like, you know, some high level deliverables. Like, and when I say high level deliverables, what do I mean by that is like it will have 4 floors. Each floor will have 10 apartments, right? It's an ultra luxurious apartment, ultra luxury, because we are targeting that audience for a project. Okay, so that's your business needs document. Okay, so once the business need document is done, we decided that, hey, we do a go no go. If it's a no, let's say, then we just do nothing, and then we, let's say, close the project and nothing is done. But let's say if it's a go, then what we do is we work on 2 documents, which is business case and benefits management plan. Business case. Business case, again, the responsibility of business case is also the sponsor. Okay, also the sponsor. It's all about why. Why are we doing this project? Why are we doing this project? That's what you do in business case. You basically give a quantitative number. Quantitative number. Like, for example, I say that we are doing this ultra luxurious apartment because we are more famous for regular apartment style, and if we do this, if we set this target audience, this market, if we set up, we will be making, let's say, $10 million. That's the, so there is definitely a business need for us to do it. That's a business need, which is nothing but why. Why are we doing this project at an organization level? That's your business need. Then you have benefits management plan. Okay, benefits management plan. Benefits management plan. Now in benefits management plan, it's all about benefits. Once again, it's a sponsor's job. Sponsor's job to do this. It's all about benefits. Like, for example, if we do this project, we will be able to cater the new set of audience which we have never. That's one of the benefit. Then we will be able to, as an organization, we will be able to make $10 million, right? That's a benefit. What you do is you assign all the benefits with a business, a benefits owner. It could be a sponsor, it could be an operations manager, it could be project manager, but you assign each benefit with a benefits owner whose responsibility is to make sure that this benefit gets achieved as part of the project. You will have a specific date, whether are you getting this benefit immediately as you launch, or you are getting this benefit, it's a long-term benefit which you get, right? So you do this as part of the benefits management plan. So now let's say that both the business case and benefits management plan says that it's a go. Then you will move to the initiation stage. But if it's, let's say it's a no, all these is no, then you do nothing, but you go towards the perform closure activities and basically you close this project if it's a no from this perspective. Okay, now let's start talking about the initiation phase. Okay, so first thing which you do in the initiation phase is your project charter and identify stakeholder. These are the 2 things which you do as part of your initiation stage. Now what is a project charter? Project charter. Okay, project charter is again, once again, the responsibility of project charter is also of the sponsor. A lot of times people ask me that, doesn't project manager make this project charter? And I'm like, typically the sponsor is a big guy in the organization, so sponsor gives this responsibility to project manager. Yes, but technically the job is of sponsor to make it. The project charter, it has all the high level documents, high level information. When I say high level information, what do I mean by that? They are high level requirements, high level risk, high level milestone, high level budget. Everything is mentioned as part of your project charter. Then once, and project charter is the one which makes sure a project manager gets assigned and is accountable to make sure the success of the project. So end to end is done. Then you also do identify stakeholder, and the output of identify stakeholder is your stakeholder register. Stakeholder register is nothing but your stakeholder information, some basic information about them, like your name, email address, their power, their interest on this particular project, right? And your email, like some basic information about the stakeholders. So you do this as part of your identify stakeholders. Okay, now let's say everything looks good, initiation phase is done, and again, what we have done for a project is we have decided that we will do it in 4 or 5 phases. In phase number 1, we will complete the apartment building. In phase number 2, we will work on the amenities. In phase 3, we'll work on the parking, like, things like that you will define. But let's say everything looks good. Now you work on the planning stage. Now in the planning stage, the first thing what you do is you create a project management plan. Now project management plan, it's a high level document, as we know, right? It's a high level document. Not a, like, in the beginning it is a high level, but as we move on it becomes more and more detailed. Project management plan will talk about how you will manage the project end to end. What do I mean by that? How you will manage the project end to end, like how you will collect the requirements, how you will work on the scope, how you will work on the quality. So all these, the children which you are seeing, project management plan is the father, and all this is your children, like requirements, scope, quality, stakeholder, and communication. What happens is, first you create a very high level project management plan. Like for our project is that, hey, the high level project management says that we will be working in 3 phases. Phase 1 will be apartment building, phase 2 would be amenities, phase 3 will be parking, phase 4 maybe would be selling, right? You manage it, the project end to end. Now let's understand from the apartment perspective what requirement, scope, quality, stakeholder, and communication is. Now a lot of times people ask me that, hey, do we do these things one after the other? Do we do these things in parallel to each other? It really depends. Some things you do it in parallel, some things you do it together. Now mostly, like, requirement and scope is typically the first thing you will work on the project as well. Now let me explain to you what do I mean by that. Okay, so first is requirements. Okay, requirements and scope. And keep one thing in mind, as I said, the first time you will do is project management plan is high level, but once you complete everything, then you will have your detailed project management plan. This is your detailed project management plan. When all the children are created, you will come back and update your project management plan. So if you see from this perspective, this is at the very bottom, and you have completed all of these plans, and then you come back and update it. So at first level, project management plan is at a very, very high level. Now let's talk about what requirements is, what scope is. Okay, requirements management plan and scope management plan. Now requirements management plan, let's say our requirement is that we want to have a swimming pool, right? An example. Now requirement would be the size of this swimming pool would be 20 feet, right? What will be scope? What will be scope? So requirement management plan will tell you how you will collect the requirements, how you would document these requirements, how you will monitor these requirements. So anything related to requirements. But the real confusion comes is the difference between requirements and this scope. Scope is about, like, what are the things team will do to make sure that these requirements get fulfilled. Like for example, you want to make 20 by 20 feet swimming pool. That's a requirement. But for that, maybe you need site drawings. You maybe need like a subject matter expert to use those site drawings to lay out a bed. So scope is nothing but things related to requirements, like the things which you need to do to make sure that requirements get fulfilled. That's your scope. So first what you do is you collect the requirements, and remember, requirements are always SMART. S-M-A-R-T, SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. Don't say that I need 100 feet swimming pool. Of course it is specific, it is measurable, attainable also, but really I really need 100 feet swimming pool? I mean, is it really realistic? I honestly don't think so, right? So you collect the requirements, and then you update those requirements in your traceability matrix, requirements traceability matrix. So requirement traceability matrix is nothing but you track your requirements to, like, other things like work packages, to your test cases. All this is your requirement. So how you will collect the requirements, how you will document the requirements, that's part of your requirements management plan. Now what is scope? Scope management plan. Now as I said, swimming pool, like I need a 20 by 20 feet swimming pool. That's your requirement which is mentioned in your collect requirements, right? You do it, but you will now define the scope around that swimming pool, that hey, we would need these things to lay out the ground. Then we would probably use the tiles to make that swimming pool, right? Somebody has to procure those tiles. So all this you would be defining in the project scope. Remember, when you do the project scope, you will create the project scope statement, which will talk about what are the things you need, what are the things you don't need. So out of scope and in scope is part of your scope statement. Based on the requirements document and the scope, you create a WBS. What's a WBS? WBS is your tree-based structure. Tree-based structure. Like for example, I will say that for our project, we have the apartment building. Okay, apartment building. Then we have swimming pool. Then we have library. Okay, apartment will have 10 floors. So we can write probably for each floor, we can do floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, right? In our case, there is 4 floor actually, 4 floor. Okay. Then let me show it to you actually. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you see, we have 10, approximately 10 apartments, right? Now, if you see that each floor will have 10 apartments. Now 10 apartments will probably have 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartments, right? We can say that, okay, 50% on each floor would be a 2-bedroom, 50% would be a 3-bedroom apartment, right? Okay, now let's come back. So we have written there would be 4 floors. Each floor will have 5 2-bedroom and each floor will have 5 3-bedroom. Okay, so you see, so what I'm doing is I'm decomposing my scope statement. I'm decomposing my requirements document into small deliverable. This is nothing but your WBS. Okay, so you create your WBS. So scope, WBS, scope statement is all your scope management. It's not your requirement. Requirement is just your requirements document that I need this. Okay, now change management and configuration management plan, I'll explain you in some time. Let me first finish everything. So you do requirements, you do scope, then you also figure it out about the quality management plan. Quality management plan is about how you will manage. Again, all these plan, the keyword is how. Like how you will do the quality, how you will test the quality assurance, how you will do quality control, how you will do the test cases, right? Everything related to that. Now, if you see from quality perspective, like I'm saying that because it's an ultra luxurious apartment building, the quality should be top notch. The tiles which I'm using, it should be like a high grade tiles, right? That's your quality management plan, right? What are the prevention things you are doing? Like the process which we will use to make those swimming pool will be like, ABC as compared to like a minor thing, right? So that's your quality management plan. Then stakeholder engagement plan. About stakeholder, you need to keep your stakeholders engaged. So for our apartment complex, what we will do is we will have a supervisor whose job is to talk to the people, keep them engaged. Like electrician wants to see that when the plumbing would be done, because when the plumbing would be done, then only electrician can do the job, right? So you have to make sure that as a project manager you communicate properly, and based on that you keep those stakeholder engaged. Like for example, now if you see from a PMP perspective, I am explaining you this entire structure step by step using graphs, using a flow chart, so that you can understand. Why? Because I want to keep you engaged. I want you to understand and see the holistic picture. So for me, this was part of my stakeholder engagement plan, and what I'm doing right now was part of my communication, because that's how I'm communicating this information to you. Okay, now let's say we completed requirements, scope, quality, stakeholder, and communication. We did everything, right? Now we will work on the next part, which is schedule, resource, cost. Now, because unless your scope is done, how can you do the schedule? You don't know what you need. How can you say that this will take 5 days, 10 days, or 1 month, right? So first you need to work on that. Now, when people ask me this, that Varun, what are the things which are done in parallel? I would say requirements, scope, quality, stakeholder and communication is something which you can do it in parallel. Okay, but typically requirement and scope is something which you will do as the first step, and then you may do the quality, stakeholder and communication as second step, right? As that. But once all these is done, and keep one thing in mind, once everything is being done, you are updating your project management plan. Very, very important. Like now this is your updated project management plan. So if I show it to you from this, right? Once everything gets completed, you update your project management plan. Okay. Now let's come to the next set, which is schedule, resource, cost. Okay. Now, you can see it properly. Okay. Right. Okay. Now first is schedule. So basically we decided that our requirement is like ultra luxurious apartment, or requirement is 20 by 20 feet swimming pool. Now what are the activities and steps? First activity is lay out the ground. Second activity is procure the tiles, procure the materials, procure the resources which you will use to lay out the ground. First you need to have an the architectural drawings for that swimming pool, right? All that what you are doing is you are decomposing your work package into activities. Activities nothing but your tasks and things, like what I did. Like first step, lay out the ground. Second step, put the tiles, right? And then, so what now you have put this, you have defined your activity list. Your activity list gets created. Then you define the duration, like activity number 1, which is lay out the ground. Lay out the ground will take 10 days. Okay. Then putting the tiles will take 5 days. So what I'm doing, I'm estimating those activity durations on that. Okay, you will define the milestone, like once the complete swimming pool is ready, that's a milestone for you. Once your lawn tennis court is ready, once, like for your PMP exam, the milestone would be once you complete your 35 hours of training. Second milestone could be once your application is approved. Third milestone is and you make me proud and pass the PMP exam, right? So you do all these, you define your project milestone, you sequence those project activities, like first step, lay out the ground. Second step, put the tiles on that. Until and unless you have laid out the ground, you have digged that ground, how can you put the tiles on that, right? So it's a sequence. You have to understand which goes first and which goes then, and then you complete everything. You create the project schedule. But remember, schedule goes hand in hand with resource and goes hand in hand with cost. What do I mean by that? Okay. Now if you understand, if I say that this particular activity from estimate activity duration, if I say that this particular activity will take 5 days, right? But I can't wait for 5 days. I want to lay out the ground in 2 days. What I will do is I will put more resources. So I'll estimate the resources that, hey, I need this in early. I'll put more resources so that I can get this done quickly. So you will estimate the resources. Resources could be human resources like worker who will dig, or resource could be the crane which you are using to dig, right? The crane driver would be the human resource, but the crane itself would be an equipment resource. The gas or the petrol which the crane is doing, that's a material resource. So you will estimate all the resources. You will check the resource calendar, the availability. Let's say that crane is something which you're procuring from some outside, but the vendor does not have it. So you need to check the resource calendar, what is the availability of that crane, right? And all these resources which you estimate, you will assign those resources to those activities in your project schedule. Like for example, digging the swimming pool will be done by 10 workers. Will be done. You need 10 workers for that. You need 1 crane for that. You need 1 crane driver for that. And some tools would be used by your workers, right? So that's your assigning resources to those activities. Now let's talk about cost. Now all these activities would of course require some cost related to it, right? So you will estimate the cost for each of these activities. You will say that estimate the cost for each activity. You will say that, okay, digging will take $1,000. Why? Because 10 resources are there. Each resources will take $100. In 1 day they can dig the complete, and that's it. That's your estimate cost for each activity. Also probably the crane rental is, let's say, $1,000. So what becomes for that particular activity, 1,000 for workers, 1,000 for crane and the crane driver. Total comes out to be $2,000. So that's how you estimate the cost. Then you consider the contingency reserve. What is contingency reserve? Contingency reserve. Contingency reserve 7. Contingency reserve. Contingency reserve. Contingency reserve is known unknowns. Known unknowns. Known unknowns. Now, what do I mean by known unknowns? The money which you keep aside for known risk. That is your contingency reserve. Like for example, in our case, for while digging the swimming pool, maybe some resource like one worker may get injured. So you say that, okay, I have kept aside $200 for any risk which may happen, and risk is something which may or may not happen. So any worker may get injured, right? So that's a risk. So you kept aside some $200 aside. So that's your contingency reserve. You'll draw an S curve. S curve is basically like from the budget you design that S curve. I'll explain. S curve is a bigger topic. I have already explained that to you in the cost management, and if not, then you have to go back and watch it. Okay. Consider the management reserve. What is management reserve? Management reserve. Management reserve. Management reserve is your unknown unknowns. Unknown unknowns. Unknown unknowns. So the money which you keep aside for unknown risk, which you have no clue. Like for example, we are working with full flow and rain comes, and because of that I was not able to do the construction for 5 days, but still I have to pay the workers because I am contractually bound by doing that. So that becomes your risk which you did not identify, but you have to pay for it, right? That's your management reserve. Okay. Then when you add everything, that's how you compute the project budget, that this is how much it will do, and you will draw the funding requirement. Funding requirement is on each phases how much money you want. So let's say if we say that our complete construction project, like phase 1 is our apartment complex, will take, let's say, $3 million. Swimming pool will take 1 million. Lawn tennis will take another million. Parking will take 50,000. Park will take 10,000. Library will take 20,000. Gym will take 100,000. So what we are doing? We are doing project funding requirements. We are saying that for each phase there is some money associated. For the apartment building, that is X. For the second amenities part, that is Y. And for the third part, that is Z. So for each phase, you know that phase 1 is going live in 3 months. So for you need that much money at least to pay your workers and everything, so that the project can go ticking. That's your funding requirements. And for all this, you have to drive the coaching plan also for your resources, actually. Coaching plan. So in your resource management plan, you have to, like for example, people may not know how to dig and you need them to dig it, so probably have to give them training. Some SME has to come and do the training. So a training coaching plan also needs to work on that. Okay. Then all these when you do, you will definitely have your risk management plan. What is risk management plan? Risk management plan is nothing but how you will manage the risk. Like how I will identify the risk, how I'll do the qualitative, quantitative analysis. So qualitative and quantitative analysis. Okay, qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative risk analysis. Okay, and quantitative okay, risk. So qualitative is prioritizing those risks which you have identified, like workers getting sick, workers getting injured, rain, right? All these have a risk which you have identified. You will prioritize the risk, okay, based on probability and impact. Probability and impact. You're doing more like a generic analysis. Quantitative is number analysis, right? Quantity is number analysis. What do I mean by number analysis? You will say that, okay, this is how much it will cost me, this is how much it will impact the project schedule. So that's your quantitative risk analysis. Okay, so that's your risk management plan. And of course, for you to do, like, you know, resource management like crane and everything, when you estimate, you will most likely have to go to procurement. Procurement is nothing but your contracts. Okay, contracts. So you have to do make or buy analysis. Oh, the swimming pool is something which I am giving it to some third party vendor, or swimming pool is something which I am doing it in-house. Am I constructing it inside? So you do make or buy analysis, making it in-house by EHS or outsourcing it to a vendor who is an expert in making swimming pool, right? So if you do the buy decision, then you will do the scope, schedule, cost, baseline, and everything you will update in the project management plan. So if you see this complete, the planning is something which is like, it takes the most work. Why? Because in predictive projects, planning plays the most important role. If your planning is perfect, then the chances of your execution will be better, right? So that's why you spend more and more time on planning. Agile is more focus on the execution part, that the more you do, show it, that's better. Show, not tell. That's what it is. Okay, now let's start working on the execution side, right? Okay, you see it? Okay, perfect. So whatever you have planned, now it's the time to execute. Like for example, I planned that I need 10 workers, right? If I need 10 workers, I need to acquire those resources, right? I need that crane, I need to acquire that crane. So first you acquire those resources, then you conduct a kickoff meeting. Kickoff meeting is like, for large projects, you do the kickoff meeting in the beginning of execution stage, where you tell that, hey, you know what, this is what your responsibility is, this is what we are planning to do, any questions. So it's basically like a high level meeting where the objectives and the roles are defined for everyone. Because it's a huge project, execution will most likely take a lot of time. Most time planning is done, but execution is where you're spending the most amount of time. So most resources, most money will be spent in your execution. So you need to have a kickoff meeting on that. Then team member will start doing the work. Okay, like what is the job of PM? Do communication according to the communication management plan. Okay, month number 1 is done and we have completed the first floor of our apartment building. Okay, that's your communication, following my communication management plan and doing the communication. Then follow engagement strategies according to stakeholder engagement plan. Okay, sometimes I will get some food for my workers, I'll get some like I'll take sometimes people out to parties also, so that I'm engaging them constantly. Okay, then I will implement any risk. So if any risk got happened on the project, then I will implement those risk responses what I identified in the risk register. Then I will procure the items that is decided to buy. There would be some items, like for example, in make versus buy, I decided that I will buy the crane, like for rent or everything. Now I'll go have to buy that crane or rent it out, whatever, right? Then develop and manage the team, take them out, motivate them. If there are any conflicts, resolve those things. And finally, all this you will document the lessons learned. Lessons learned is something which you do it throughout your project, throughout execution, you do it and you update that. And this lessons learned register goes to your OPA, which is organization process asset. So this goes to your OPA. Once everything looks good, then you will move towards the monitoring and control. Now, monitoring and control, if you see, is not that once your execution is done, then only you do the monitoring and control. No, you don't do the monitoring and control at that time. Monitoring and control is something which you do throughout. Like monitoring control is like when your project gets started, you do the monitoring and control complete. So this is where your monitoring and control is, like on the very top. I think you can't see it, but you see it from here. So you do monitoring and control on the overall level, not that once your execution, then you have to monitor and control. No, you do it at an overall level. But what is monitoring and control? Okay, let's talk about that. So basically now you have to test whatever is expected out of you. Did the work got done or not? Okay, like for example, you'll check the requirements document. Okay, my requirements document said that the swimming pool size should be 20 by 20 feet. Is it actually 20 by 20 feet or no, right? So in monitoring and control, you will do that. Handle changes with change control process. Okay, I did not explain you the change control process. Let me explain you that. Okay, let's come here. Okay, change management plan and configuration management plan. These two, okay, important. So change management plan is all about how you will do the changes, okay. And configuration management plan, and don't worry, I'll explain to you. Let me first write it down. Configuration management plan is all about version control, okay. Specifications, version control, specifications. What do I mean by that? Specifications. Now change management plan will tell you that how I will manage the changes if requirement comes. Like initially we thought that we will be creating, let's say initial requirement was that we are constructing this swimming pool on the very first, right? But then the things change and we decided that we will do a rooftop because it's an ultra luxurious apartment, so we have to give the feeling of infinity pool. Now it's a complete change that this complete swimming pool is going on the roof. That's a very big change. Now how you will manage that change, that is being done as part of your change management plan. But in order for you to move from bottom to the rooftop, there are multiple things involved. When I say multiple things involved, is like, you know, version control, specifications will change. Like version number 1 says that, hey, it should be, instead of 20 by 20 feet, now it should be 15 by 15 feet because the roof does not have that much space. Okay, that's a version 1 says that. Then in version 2, you will say that, oh, you know what, we need to have like a lounge area also along with that. So that's version 2 says that. Now you will be updating and saving all this information somewhere, right? That is where you are saving it in your configuration management system. Maybe you are using some kind of Jira tool or any other change management tool to do that, or a SharePoint and stuff. That's also part of your configuration management plan. So configuration management plan is all about version control, specification. Change management plan is all about how you will do the change. Like it will go to CCB will do the impact analysis. Then based on that, you will take a decision, you will update the baselines, you will communicate to stakeholders. All that is part of your change management plan. Okay. Now, so what else? Okay, handle changes, then monitor and control scope, schedule. So what you are doing is monitor and control school. Basically, you are doing a comparison of planned versus actual. So my planned scope said it should be 20 feet, but actually I made 10 feet of swimming pool. Really? That's a defect, right? You need to improve it. So you monitor and control your scope and everything. Then you monitor your risk. You don't want your negative risk to happen on your project, right? So you'll constantly monitor, and if that risk happen, you have to take steps based on your risk response plan. Like this is what happened. Like for example, one of the risk response plan is that if any worker gets injured, there will be a first aid box in every 10 feet or 100 meters or wherever, right? So that's a response. So if any worker actually gets injured, that risk becomes an issue, then somebody from the first aid box will help that worker. Okay. Monitor the communication and engagement plan. Are we communicating and engaging the stakeholders throughout? That's your monitor communication. Finally, monitor and control procurement, because you are dealing with vendors, right? Contracts are involved, legal is involved. You have to make sure you properly manage your procurements as well. And once again, as I said, monitor and control is something which monitor and control your complete project and not just after your execution. Once everything gets done, then one more thing you do as a part of this is validate scope. Validate scope. And what do you do by mean by validate scope? Validate scope is nothing but your UAT testing, user acceptance testing. What do I mean by UAT testing? Your customer actually tests it now. Now, your quality team told you that, hey, the swimming pool should be 20 feet and we did 20 feet and we are giving the test case as yes, you did it. But your customer will also test it that you actually made 20 feet or not, right? That's what your valid UAT testing is, user acceptance testing, which means your end user or customer will do the testing as part of this. Okay. Once everything gets done, then you will do the closure. And what do I mean by closure activities? You will document the lessons learned, you will update the repository, you will release the resources, you will get the final sign off from the customer, and yeah, that's all you do. So this marks the completion of your complete predictive process flow chart. I hope you liked it and I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, if you need this predictive process flow chart, now this is what you need to do. Go to my website www.eduhubspot.com/predictive process flow. Over there, you will be asked to provide your email address, phone number. Make sure you provide your correct email address and phone number, because somebody from my team will reach out to you and share that with you. If you give the wrong information, then you're not getting this. And if you really liked this video, you hoped or not hoped, you felt that I made small contribution in your PMP exam journey, then please hit the like and subscribe button of YouTube. Tell to YouTube in the comments, hey, you know what, this guy has done an amazing job in explaining the predictive process flow chart. Even if only if you feel, do mention in the comments, so I still read each and every comment, because that comment is like a goosebump for me. It gives me motivation to make more and more content for you. And when you click on that subscribe button, you get more notifications from YouTube that, hey, Varun has come up with this new video. So thank you so much. Good luck, make me proud, and keep working hard.